Okay, who is who is excited for this bonus session? Ha! Guys, you guys are amazing. Like, just please clap for yourself. Please clap for yourself. Use the clapping hands emoji. Let us see you in the like you came early, you're all settled down, ready to hear the gist of what it really means to draw a line in the sand as this sisterhood. This particular sisterhood, all of us are eyeing from afar, like, now, wow. When will you people put out a application so that we can, maybe just come and learn at your feet, even if you cannot join the sisterhood again, because this sisterhood has gone so far that joining now, you'll be feeling left out because there'll be too many stories and histories that you'll not be able to catch up with. But the least they can do for us, is to teach us that how can you maintain such sisterhood that without drama for so long, you see, and they're like, what, okay, let's just give you a tip of the iceberg, right? And how best should we do it but to review together this amazing book, this wonderful book, this supernatural book. Yes, so it's supernatural because the way that this book has been dealing with people all the way in Dubai here. So I went for a women's summit 2 months ago, I think, and I took copies of this book like, okay, me self, I want to practice my sales skills. I should be able to sell now. I mean, I'm a lovable person. I'm a likable person. I should be able to practice my sales skills and all of that. So I took copies of the book. And as I was meeting these women, I'll just go to their table and like, hi, good night. EJ, the dancing girl. Like, yeah, the dancing girl, yeah. Okay, you know what? So I have this amazing book with me, written by a friend of mine. Man, this book is awesome. It talks about boundaries in relationships. Yes, it focuses majorly on marriages, but I've gone through it and I've read it, and I know that even outside of marriage, it can work for you because it just helps you. It paints the scenario for you because it's telling stories, right? So, like, it's a compilation of 14 amazing stories that tells you how to draw boundaries. And they're like, oh, really? Okay. They'll look at the book, some people like, some of them are like, okay, it's nice. Oh, how much is it? I'll tell them the price, like, okay, no worries. Just let me know. Keep in touch and let me know. But on the spot there, I sold like 3 copies. And then one of them, who's a doctor, came back to me, I think like 3 weeks later or a month later. I kept checking up on her, like, hi, how are you enjoying the book? She's like, oh my God, EJ, don't worry. I don't want to tell anything. Now let me finish reading this book first. I'll send my full review. And then she did. First of all, she's like, when I saw the book divided, so if you have not gotten yours, you are missing out. So this one is not spoiler alert. Better go and get yours. Like, go and just go and order for your own, right? It's like, first of all, when I saw the book divided, I leapt for joy. And then she wrote this amazing detailed what's it called now? Review of the book. She could resonate with she said one of the stories felt like it was her story because she was going through the same thing with her child. And I'm like, whoa. I sent that review to my sis, Brala, and Brala was like, oh my God. So guys, if you have not gotten the book yet, I don't even know what you're waiting for. I'm not understanding. Like, I'm not understanding. But anyways, you have one more reason to be able to go and get that book today. Don't let them pass today. Now, why are you waiting now? What are you jolling for now? We've given you tips. We've given you extra chapter. We did the extra audio for you, just so that you have a taste of it. The taste never reach. I been at your type, they go restaurant, you go, they ask for taste till you belly full. Or those time they used to enter perfume store when they want to go, they all dress up and just enter perfume store, like, okay, this one is not a fianfon. Yeah, this one is not a fianfon. By the time you test the perfumes, you are good for the day, you're good to go. We don't want it to be like that. We need you to get your own copy of the book, A Line in the Sand by Brala. The amazing book. So the sisters are here today to talk about what it really means to draw a line in the sand. Are you ready? If you're ready to see these sisters, let me see you type ready. But please, before we even go on, before we bring these amazing sisters on board, can you please help share this link to your friends and families? Share on your status, on your WhatsApp, on your Facebook page, so that more people can join us and come and learn. Of course, we know we bombarded them with enough value, with enough message during the summit, but this is an extra. This is going the extra myself. Just for you to know that, see, this thing that Brala is doing is not just about the book. It's not just about clout. It's a passion for her. She really wants people to understand what it means to have healthy boundaries. And she's put all of these things together, the book, the summits, the webinars, the boot camp, everything together to ensure that when you enter that journey, you're able to understand end to end what it means to have a boundary, what it means to set healthy boundaries, what it means to maintain the boundary so that we are all wholesome human beings. So if you're ready, please start in the comment section now. Say ready, 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 ready. I'm not seeing the readies. Oh, where are they now? Where are people now? Hi. Okay, so I'm so sorry. Cut. I'm so sorry. I didn't remember to call names and to say hi. Hi to Mitokwe Falade, the first lady in the room. Thank you for joining us. Hi, Fumi Ayole. Hey, sister. Hi, Ebiere. I see you. Our sisters, they are here. They are here. Yinke Ifye, I see you. Thank you for coming. Louis Adeni, thank you for coming. Patrenia Words Onoha, thank you for coming. Ayodeji Egberongbe, thank you. Looks like I'm the only man here. Please, though, can you call the other men in the house? You don't know you people need to understand what boundaries mean. Like, now, go. We need not to know. We need not to know. So please go and call more men for us. We need men here. It's not a women's affair. Yes, women are speaking, but it's not a women's affair. We all need to understand what it means to have healthy boundaries, to set healthy boundaries, and to maintain them. Thank you so much. Okay. Woo! Mama is here. Your mic is mute. Your mic is mute. Your mic is mute.
Before you go, EJ, in fact, let's talk about how have we made this book available to people, in what formats? Maybe because some of them don't know. So you were saying that we've given you this, we've given you that. So some people are like, hey, how have we given you? Tell them what formats we've made available for them.
Okay, so we have the e-copy on Amazon. You can order on Amazon.
Is it the free one I was even saying? No.
Oh, the free one. You're not following Madam Bralade. You're not. I don't understand. How can you not be following her on Instagram? Please follow her on Instagram. Click on the link in bio. It's like it maybe. See, talk truth or don't shame the devil today. If you hearing link in bio, tell me in the comment section. Do you know what link in bio is? Because some people be like, okay, link in bio. Which bio? Which link? All right. So when you go to somebody's page on Instagram and you check the profile, how they describe themselves, like, okay, this is what I do, this is what I do. Beside that, and then you see a link. You see a blue color text. That is the link in bio. So if you go to I Am Bralade on Instagram and you click on that link, you will see an array of goodies. That's what I can say to you.
Yeah.
An array of goodies, because she has 10 laws of boundaries, free for you to download. We have the copy, we have the audio version of one of the stories on
read by yours truly.
Yes, you have 4 stories, like 4 free stories, right? There's the
yeah. So 3 in total.
Yeah, the stories,
even on
right?
YouTube here, you can find the audio. So
exactly.
Definitely dig in there. If you want to hear Ejiro's voice in her element.
You know what?
And if you have an audio, a book that needs to become an audio book, which is essentially every book, this is your plug right here. She's your plug.
Absolutely. Thank you, Mama. Thank you, Mama. Right. So, yeah.
Who's ready to rumble? Woo! Ready to rumble? I'm bringing the sisterhood up here. Okay, let me bring them up there. All of them will not say, because if I say it, they'll say, that's not really how we met. That's not how we did. One thing. It's a long thing. Thank you so much, Ejiro. Blow kisses to Ejiro. All right. Starting in alphabetical order, because I cannot be the one now that they will now say she was doing Pasha. But it's so hard to do favorites in this group. All right. Starting in alphabetical order is Alaire Achalonu. Sorry.
Hello. Hi, Bralade.
Hello, Alaire. So good to have you in here. And up next is Chrissy Afe. You're on mute, Chrissy. So you gotta unmute yourself.
Hello, everyone. Hi, Braxy.
I know she's giving you calm, rich auntie vibes, right?
Bralade, you're
always like this. So don't worry. You hear the fire is coming. And up next is the delectable, the intelligent, Ijoma.
Hi.
Coolest eyes. Coolest eyes. Chrissy, your fans are here. Okay. And finally, we have the tenacious. I'm trying to use all the T's. And the lovely Tombra. Hey, Mama.
Hello. Hi, everyone. It's great to be here. Hey, sisters.
Yay.
Is this you people's eye? Like I'm actually seeing you free of charge and everything.
Mm-hmm.
All right, it's clearer now that I've kind of scrunched everybody up. Hello, ladies. So people are hailing you, saying hi. Thank you so much for stopping.
Hi,
Dina.
Hey.
All right. So let me just say that this is not my story to tell because it wasn't my initiative to bring us all together. So let me give honor to who honor is due. I do this maybe once a year. Let's just allow her speak, for the initiative. It's not easy. All right, over to you, Tombra. How did
Shame on you, brother. There. Shame on you for not doing this every day.
I don't particularly enjoy this, but what can I say?
Oh my goodness, super excited to just be here with you guys and be here with my sisterhood. Yeah. Brother, what's the brief? What am I supposed to say?
What's the sisterhood? How did it come about?
So we are a group of friends that have been forged in love, in loss, in every single thing that you can think of, in births, in triumph, in wins, in losses, like pretty much we've been through everything together. I had a lead-in, I think that's the word I will use, when my daughter was about a year old, and now she is 8, near on 9, to bring together a collective of women and to just do life with and pray with. I think the initial intention was come together and pray, but very quickly we just saw that it transcended beyond just the prayer. We were praying and we were actively doing life together. We were talking about things that were happening aside just being mothers, just things that were happening in our lives, in our workplaces, in our businesses, careers, everything. We just and instantly we could start to see like that that there was benefits in this group. There was benefit in having a place, a safe place where you could, share stuff in a really, really non-judgmental way or zone, and and there would always be someone there to love upon you. So and since then we've transcended. It's how many years now? I think 6 years, going on 7 years.
About 7 years. Mm-hmm.
And it's only this year that we all got to meet each other. Well, not but like now finally we can say we met everybody.
To meet physically,
everybody has met everybody now. If not, we hadn't even met each other.
And what's interesting was that you guys were all my friends in different, from kind of different threads of life, if you see what I mean. And I kind of convened you guys, but then you guys, the friendship took a life on its own, do something like it wasn't really about me anymore. And that's why that's one of the, and I may be jumping the gun here, but that's one of the beauties of the sisterhood. There isn't any central character. It's all of us, and we're all doing life together, and everyone's equally loved, and we just support each other immensely.
So this is already just the sisterhood, right? I have those of us here, we still have our tribes outside of here, and it's always amazing to watch. Someone I know who has that, who I'll be asking the question here shortly, is Ijoma. Ijoma still has some of her secondary school friends. Ijoma, how many years ago secondary school?
Secondary school, I left secondary school in 1998. Can someone help me count?
Don't say it in a hurry. Just say it small.
No, it's okay. There's no age hiding.
That's 42 years ago.
Yeah.
I'm not 40 this year, so it's okay. We are not hiding our age anymore. But that's how many years ago? That's what?
22. Stop
22
it.
years ago.
Well, 23,
Yeah.
It's not just, it's impossible.
18.
Almost
22 years.
23, actually.
Yes.
23
And
years, yeah.
Jay, how have you found that having these tries? First of all, why is it important to have these tries? Because everybody now is like, oh, I'm married now, I have kids, I don't have time, or maybe I'm even going through a divorce or something. The rest of them, I don't know if I fit into the seasons. How have you been able to keep those networks all these years? And why is it necessary to have something like the sisterhood? When we finish with that, we'll introduce ourselves. Don't worry, y'all. We're coming.
Brother, was that question to me?
Yes, it was to you, IJ.
Okay, so it's so valuable to keep friendships from way back, particularly if you were blessed to have good friends already from them. Because what I say is that over time, my friends from secondary school are friends that I sort of stayed 6 years in a boarding house with, and it was 6 years of living together, doing life together at very critical ages of our life, formative years. So from the ages of 10 to 16, 17, when you begin to understand who you are as a teenager and all of that. So what I've seen over time is that because we were so close-knit those 6 years together, there were many years that even after we left school, we were not necessarily in touch, maybe 5 years of silence. And then remember, there were no mobile phones too after we left school. So it was just maybe email communication, then once in a while you run into them. But I realized that even some of them, even 10 years down the line, 15 years down the line, you meet them and boom, it's like there was no distance, there was no time lost, I think it stems from the fact that the friendship had solid foundations that were deeply rooted in genuinity. There was nobody forming, there was nobody acting up and all of that before life happened. So those friendships are valuable. And it brings me back to the sisterhood, which we have. We've done 7 years together. And although we physically, I had met everyone in the group, right? But Bralade, you met some of us for the first time this year.
August, yeah.
It was weird to say that you were just meeting Chrissy for the first time, because it didn't feel that way. It's like we've been doing life together, crying, laughing, conflicts, friendships, children, everything, right? So that it's valuable friendship. It's valuable friendship because you have a community of people that you can fall back on.
So some people were telling me that we didn't talk about friendship, we didn't talk about family. We got you today. We got you. So let me let everyone introduce themselves. Do we need to? You guys tell me, because we're freestyling. Yes, let's introduce Jerry, my big short chicks. Before you be seen there like this, if you seen Alire just come there, you don't know she's a CEO. Whoa. Yeah. Okay.
Leave alone.
Okay, good morning, good afternoon, good evening, everyone. My name is Alaire Acholonu, and I'm a mother, I'm a wife, mother to three beautiful girls. My baby is, she'll be 2 in December, so I've been very busy. I'm also, according to Brother, there is CEO in the maritime industry. I run different businesses and I'm an entrepreneur. And I will just keep it short because I know others have to go, but I just want to say I'm just blessed being here in this sisterhood. I was introduced by Tombra, as she said, and just to add, Tombra's father and my father are very good friends. Very good friends. So we are family friends. I know some of her sisters for us, I don't know, 15, 20 years. So it's more like my dad says Tombra is his daughter and vice versa. So it's just an amazing friendship. So sometimes we get on each other's nerves, but we know, hey, we are sisters. So you ain't going anywhere.
Sorry, whose nerves do you get
on? My nerves a lot.
You mean Tombra gets on your nerves?
I get on her nerves more. Explain. But I'll call and say, Tombra, in 10 minutes, Tombra, you know what? Okay, I'm sorry. Let's move on, blah, blah, blah. Explain myself.
Let's
explain yourself. No, not let's move on.
Which time did you get on my nerves?
This girl that is speaking, she's about let's move on. Me, I'm like, let's enter let's enter you. Okay, then you now said this. What tone did you use? How high was the voice? Was it low? Hilarious. Let's move on. The love of God. Okay,
So yes,
Christiana.
thank you.
Christiana. Hello, y'all. Meet Chrissy.
Hello, everybody. It's so good to be here. My name is Chrissy. Sorry, I'm just reading a comment from a friend who said I've left her out. She's upset with me. Ignore that. Don't worry, Dean. I'll come to you. So, a mom of 2 kids, a HR professional. What else? I'm a worship leader, and yeah, it's just been a great ride with these ladies. And when you say pure friendship, that's what it's been, because we'll get into it in a little bit, but it's just been nice to see everyone grow and just be themselves and have a safe space, really, to just kind of chill and have a support system. So yeah, thank you.
Love it. IJ, Mrs. Wakuche.
You didn't say anything about being a head coach, though. Still, well.
Yeah, I sorry, Tombra.
This
This is what happens.
manager.
They remind you the things you are, because you're trying to just say one or two things and move on, and then they're like, "What about this?" I'm also a hair coach. I love hair, and I think it started like 10 years ago when I had my daughter, and I had no idea what to do with the hair. And it took me on a journey to discovery and really understanding the Afro hair and sort of how it works. And now I coach people, and I see clients to sort of help them grow or sort of achieve whatever hair goals that they have. And yeah, I love it. That's like my side passion, aside from worship, leading music. And yeah, thank you.
I love it. I love it. All right, IJ.
Okay. Hi, everyone. So I'm Ijoma. I'm a mom. And that's the first thing that comes to my mind because my daughter is banging on my door. So I have to go on mute for a second and say, before this girl come and, spoil Brala this video. But okay. So I'm a mom. I'm a wife. I have 3 kids. I'm a career woman. I'm a careerist. Is there a word like that, Bralade? A professional career person.
I'll make it for you.
Yeah, I'm a careerist. I'm a general manager at a logistics firm. I am.
Sorry. This sound broken. Let's hear it. Say it again.
What part do you want to hear again?
The general manager side.
Okay.
Okay, so moving on, Bralade. I am a speaker. I'm an author. Okay, I write generally, but I'm writing my first book now, so please watch out for that. I don't know. I'm many things really, but I'm the founder of Purple Orchid. That one is dear to my heart. Yeah. It's a coaching and mentorship club where I basically say I raise women of value to be referral worthy in the workplace. I would like to call them my Danielas in Babylon. So shout out to Purple Orchid ladies as well. So I'm here to discuss a line in the sand, and I'm excited for it.
All right, let's give Tombra space. We'll give her 30 seconds. 10. Okay, now carry on, please, Tombra.
So why is it me that has the least amount of time?
Go ahead, Tombra.
I hope you guys are taking note. I hope you guys are sensing how I'm being treated. This is speaking volumes. But anyways, my name is Tombra. Hey, and I am the drama queen of the group. That is the truth. I am the life of the party, and I just bring the vibe. Yes, I know. Argue with yourselves. But yes, I'm a teacher. I think at heart, that's who I am. I'm a teacher. I help people. I teach people how to see themselves, as the most elevated form that they've been to be. I'm a transformation coach. I do that via a number of means. Transformation coach. I'm a podcast host, and a fair bit of other things as well. But I'll leave it at that.
Oh my God, she is. Like the titles are many. She owns businesses in different sectors. It's just how we do. Now you can see why we can't be dull, because there's little time for BS, and I don't even swear. All right. So a line in the sand. Today we're here to talk about when is it time So you guys know I've been on about boundaries. Who wants to say how long ago I've been talking about boundaries? Before there was any book, before there was any summit, before anything.
At
It's been a
least
while.
4 5 years, I would say. Yeah, you've been talking about boundaries. I remember actually the first time that I asked you when you told me you're going to write a book, and I was like, well, what's a good book going to be about? And you're like, boundaries, of course. I was like, oh, yeah, of course.
Actually, can you guys remember like 3-4 years ago, Bralade started pushing for us to listen to the audiobook and read the book by Henry Townsend, Henry Cloud, right? And Bralade actually sent a physical copy from America. Like you saw someone traveling, you sent it and said, give it to IJ. IJ, after reading, send it to Ebere, you know. And then when we refused to find time to listen to the audiobook, she sent us short YouTube videos to make it easier for us. 20 minutes, listen
we
to
did a book review as well.
Yes, we did a book review as well. So that was like 3-4 years ago, actually, way before you started writing the book. Mm-hmm.
You guys can find those video series here. Like, in fact, I was like, no. Some of you here, you've heard many things this last weekend, and you really think you can carry it and go and transform your friendships. It won't work. You better carry those videos and say, please, let's start reviewing.
Yeah.
And we were busy, right? It wasn't like we were just sitting around. So we were busy, and we still found time to do these things. And so by the time I was writing this book, so okay, let me ask you guys, around that study period, what are some things you say you got, and you can just pick only one from all that study, just from the more awareness of boundaries? What are some things that you were like, okay, I'm starting to get, or something like that?
You're a system. What was it?
Go ahead. Okay, what were you saying?
No, I think Chrissy was speaking. Chrissy, go.
Oh no, I just remember that you're a system, and it stuck with me. But I'll let IJ go, and then I'll recalibrate and come back.
I think for me the most profound was clear communication. How you actually clear communication and then following through with what you say. So because sometimes we have things in our head and we expect people that we're in relationship with, whether our spouses or friends, to sort of understand. They're supposed to know. But sometimes they don't necessarily know that you want to be, treated in a certain manner, or you have certain, ideas about how the relationship should be. So clear communication stood out to me. Yeah.
I think. Oh.
Go on.
Go on. Should I go ahead?
Go ahead.
Yeah, go, Chrissy, and then Alan.
Yeah, I think for me was that that whole boundaries with self. Because when we talk about boundaries, a lot of times we talk about boundaries for other people, like respect my boundaries. These are, expectations and where you draw that line. But it's with yourself. Like you have to have boundaries for yourself, self-respect, and, understanding who you are and sitting into that core. And I think that was so profound. I really like that. That really stood out to me. Just doing the internal work, because it's very easy to draw boundaries, but if you don't even know yourself, what boundaries are you drawing? I was like, oh my God, this is so good. Yeah, that was awesome.
So good. All right, Larry,
I think for me, it was more about, it's okay to say no. It's okay to just say, I don't want to do this, and not be worried that you're going to be hurting people's feelings. I think that really stood out for me. You don't need to please anybody. The key thing is, as long as you're doing right, it's fine. You can say, no, I don't want to do this, and not feel bad or not feel guilty.
No people pleasing.
I think for me it was the paradoxical nature of the word itself and the term, because it's boundaries and you think it's a bad thing on the surface of it, but it's how counterintuitive everything is. Like it's not actually keeping bad out, it's keeping good in, and it's not actually keeping good out, it's keeping good in and then keeping bad out. So I think for me that was the awareness for me, like actually it sounds bad but it's actually good.
Yeah
Yeah,
so spot on.
I love it. I love it. All right. So last year, COVID did us, and Thomas says, I feel like this year, there's something we're supposed to be doing. I feel like. So sometimes the spirit visits. There's a way the spirit visits. So when the spirit has visited Thomas, we all have to come out. It's like oracle. We all come and listen and take our instructions. Okay. And then, we started talking like, what things do we want to do? We had the visioning session, right? And we each picked up, say, hey. In fact, we not only had the visioning session, we now schedule meeting per person. I'm tripping for us. I'm like fashion. I'm not even joking. Please, when you sit around with your friends, what do you discuss? I know it's important to talk about the Hermes bag and all these things, but come on, too. I know IJ feels attacked because she has.
What? You talk about what? Sorry, what did she say?
Hermes bag. Okay, but we actually sat down and showed each of us what is our 5-year plan. That was literally what we did. And it was like a board of directors type of meeting. Come and present to us. And we'll pick holes in it and we'll say this part is good and this thing. You will get a thorough feedback. And I know Timmy Tokwe Fala is in the chat. She does something like this with ideation. If you really want to ideate something, you better call that lady. But we did that. And that was how the book, I'm like, I'm going to write this book. In fact, I struggled so much with just what the topic, not the title, but what the format should be. I knew I wanted to talk about boundaries, but what? What about boundaries? Okay, and I said, I don't like preaching at people, so I didn't want to do like all the laws of boundaries because somebody else already wrote that book. So I started writing blog post style book. I one was fight well and fight hard, fight often. Yeah, that was one of the. So I started writing these things. I'd written up to the third one. I'm like, this thing is feeling disingenuous. I don't know if people will get it because I was a little tongue in cheek. And I went ahead and said, I'm just going to do short stories. First of all, I want to take real people around me stories because I was just turning 10 years in marriage. So I said, let me talk to people who are 10 years and above. People didn't want to tell their story. I was in shock. I was like, hey? So this is our mystery, what we're shrouding. Every time you see someone telling their story next time, please just give them extra hand. It doesn't matter whether you like the story, you don't like it, you feel it's oversharing. It still takes a lot of effort to do that, emotional effort. So I decided to write this book. Y'all see this? Where are your books, ladies? Who is snapping our picture? When you hold your book, okay, hold it. Don't cover your beautiful face, Chrissy. I want to see your beautiful face. And let me take a picture.
You buy this book. Go buy this book. It's really good.
We get silly too. Did I ask that? We get silly. But yeah, it's serious to me that I wrote this book and I couldn't have done it without these ladies, their support. Like I absolutely couldn't have. And I'm so grateful that I did. So I wrote about 14 stories and you guys have read this book. Can you tell me what is one story that is either memorable or what you would call your best story? And if you read this book as well, put your best in the chat. I see Ija Willie. I need to give her props when I was going to write. I hollered at this lady. I said, be on standby because stories are going to be coming to you every week. And the girl was like bothering my soul. Anyway, when you really want to do something, get people to hold you accountable. That's the lesson of that. And it came out. All right. So go ahead, ladies. What is one memorable story in this book? Generally, what do you think about this book? And what is one? And don't mind that, I told you can yab me small. Tomra yab me, and I hope you will repeat that yab. Feel free to yab me. Feel free to hail, whatever. But just be your real self. Okay?
Okay.
Okay, I'll go first.
Okay, I'll go first. Wow, my most memorable story. Okay, to start with.
Wait, don't say my story.
That's why I went
it's good that you are going first. Pick anything you want. Pick anything you want.
So to start with, I couldn't drop it when I first picked it up. I was just laughing. I think I loved how Bralade imputed Pidgin English and some Igbo and some Ijaw, and it was just so interesting. Am I memorable? I think I'll be a bit biased. The first one, every woman's dream man or something. The first one was
Every woman's man.
Every woman's man, because it's
Every
Alaire.
woman's dream
The
man.
cast, yes, the cast is Alaire, so that's my name. I'm like, yay!
Shame on you, brother. Then you didn't name any of your
I
people.
know, right? I was waiting.
Did I name myself before you are saying my people? Did I name my own self?
So I think I'm biased because the cast is Alaire, but apart from that, that was a very good story because it just shows that during the courtship before marriage, people are just giving into that. You know how you just want to marry somebody because society expects you to. Okay, I don't want to give a lot away, especially for those who haven't read it, but it shows that, hey, hang on, you have to set boundaries before you get into any marriage. You have your own values, you have your own beliefs. So regardless of whether you're getting married or not, whoever you're getting married to should align with those values and your beliefs. So I really love that story. And the other one was Miss Medelson. Medelson, I think.
Now you can't
Sorry.
take two now. By
You can't
time
take two now.
I'm so sorry.
Let's just stop
Okay,
at
I
nine.
loved all of them. I'm so sorry. I'll pick that one because
But
that
you didn't teach them
resonated.
what the story was about. Just in 1 minute, tell them what the story is about.
Okay, so Miss Medelson, it resonated with me because I had a personal experience. It's about a mother-in-law from Warri that traveled to Houston to be with her daughter and to have omugo. For those who don't understand what omugo is taking care of the baby, so her daughter's baby. And that resonated with me because my late mom came over when I had my first daughter, and I know how the issues we had. It wasn't as dramatic as the book, but I know I expected so much from my mom. I expected so much, and I remember my mom said to me, out of 7 days, she said, "Allah, darling, out of 7 days, I want 2 days off. 2 days, I'm gonna go out. Yeah, I'm gonna go out." And I said, "Mommy, how can you say
You
you
were
want?"
setting boundaries.
I didn't understand. This was 10 years ago. I said, "Mommy, you're here for Omugo. How can you tell me you want 2 days off?" I said, "Well, I'm sorry, darling, but I have to also clear my head and I have my life to live." And I was so upset. I was so upset with her. And I mean, reading this book, I said to myself, I said, "Bralade, why didn't you write this book 10 years ago?" Because it just goes to show that she also had a life to live. And it's fine. I had to respect that she wanted 2 days off. She would be with baby at night, be with baby in the day. And she just felt, and that 2 days, she meant it. She would go to the movies. She would leave home for like 8 in the morning. And I'm like, "Mom, where are you going at 8 in the morning?" She said, "I have sisters, I have friends."
Hey.
So, not to take too much of time, I think that story really, really resonated with me, that when in-laws come, they have to also respect your boundaries. But if they don't, you have to be able to tell them that, "Look, please respect me. This is my home. This is how I want things done," in the most polite way as possible.
Oh my gosh. I love that.
I love it.
I love it.
Okay, who's up next? Let me stop taking it.
See that money matters, eh? That thing. When I was reading this book, I was literally vibrating on my seat. That what kind of thing is this? It took her mom being in the hospital. Okay, let me give you a background. Sorry, guys.
Yeah.
Basically, right, this lady, I think it was like an arranged marriage, or how your family will check out a guy and then hook you guys up across, and then you get together and then move abroad. And then the guy was encouraging her, "Don't worry, do nursing, do this, you bring money." And on the side, he was just chilling, so the wife will make the money and he will disburse it however he pleases, basically. And she just trusted him because the norm is, when you come, these nurses in America, they're making money, but their houses are on fire because they don't respect their husband. That stereotypical thing that, hey, when I was reading the story, guys, especially when I got to that part where she was asking for where is the money I sent for my mother? I just dropped the book. I was like, Chineke, that's Baladi's word, by the way. So, money for your mother's health. Can you understand how?
I love how you say it has embodied the story.
It wasn't money for enjoyment, or I would give money for anything else. It wouldn't have mattered. But money for a mom in the hospital, and
Financial
money
abuse.
for a valid reason. The valid reason is because they expect us to have a house in the village, so he sent the money home to build house. Do you get? It's almost like a norm in I'll say Nigeria, because that's where I'm from, and the stories are all from Nigeria, where they say a man must build a house from where he's from. You must
so many
do something.
pressures. Yeah.
At what expense though? Who's paying that bill? Who's dealing with that? So what happened to Allah?
She'll be back, I'm sure.
Okay. So yeah, that story, I think that story was the hardest one for me to take. And I just kept thinking, there's so much expectation on women. Women are expected to just play the dutiful wife, play the faithful partner, don't question, but in reality,
don't kill somebody's dream.
Don't kill somebody's dream. Thank you.
Meanwhile,
dream. Meanwhile, your life is just slaving away, and
your children.
And so yeah, that was a hard one. I think that really stuck out for me, because it's just the expectations, and I think sometimes just so used to living to other people's expectations of us, rather than really just living what we should, until she got to that point before she was like, no, I'm going to be a faithful wife, I will support him, until it got to that point. So
that's the point where we will be talking about. That's
the point
today,
where you draw the line. I hope it doesn't go too far before you draw the line. See, boundaries, we have to start immediately, because if you wait for it to keep going and going and going, you take some hurt that's not necessary. I think.
I love it. All right. So we'll when we circle back the next time, it'll be, what do you do when you have reached that line? Because some people have reached that line, they have crossed the line, they are still in the line, they've even gone now to the other side. You understand? So let me ask you, IJ, what your own favorite or most memorable is.
My most memorable is wife, husband training.
Why do you come and take my story now?
Training.
That's my second favorite.
Husband training was it for me, absolutely. So I mean, and I'll do a recap, but brother, if you don't mind, I'll actually like to read.
I love that.
So I'll do a quick overview and then read the lines. So basically, husband training was this story where the man thought he was training his wife to be the submissive, subservient, partner in the house. Not even partner. Partner was not befitting for her. She was beneath him. He had to put sets of rules and regulations as to how she should conform to be deemed a good wife, And so she found herself in a very abusive relationship. There was a lot of verbal abuse, just talking the wife down, all to make her toe the line, you have to be a submissive wife. And he was priding himself in even being a coach in that matter, coaching his friends on how to make their wives subservient to them, technically like slaves to them, really. So he had been doing this for many years, and the wife had basically been towing the line because she didn't want to scatter her marriage. She would take all sorts of insults and abuse and all of that from him, until she encountered the book, the book on boundaries that taught her about setting healthy boundaries. And, that book made her to begin to realize, I am a person of value. I shouldn't be talked to in that manner. So she stood up to him. And what is interesting is she did not insult him. She was not rude to him. She did not disrespect him. She did not disregard him, but she was clear and firm and said, you will not talk to me in that manner. When you're ready to have a civilized conversation with me, like a human being like you, then I'll have a conversation with you. And you're like, how dare you? Who do you think you are? You're growing wings. In Nigeria, I'll clip your wings. And then she said to him, if you continue to talk to me like that, I would walk out on you. So she communicated clearly to him, and he continued to disregard her, and she walked out on him. He wanted to die. Like, this is a man that had spent years insulting, abusing his wife, and then all she did was just walk out on him, right? And then all of a sudden, he couldn't contain his anger. He was enraged. He drove out of the house. He was going to blow a fuse in his mind. And then he called his uncle to say, Uncle, I thought this was the formula. This formula, it could work today. This girl has grown wings, you know, that kind of thing. And the uncle said, what's wrong with you? That's beer parlor talk now. So we were saying in the youth, you went to go and be doing it at home. You know, because you know the way it is. Some people come together like, no, this is my own house. This is how we do it. I'm the man, I'm the this, I'm the... And sometimes it might be women, you know, you never know. But it was beer parlor talk, locker room talk. This guy takes it home and is maltreating his wife. There's no better word to it. There's no sugarcoating it. He was maltreating the lady. And so she finally wasn't going to have that. So the uncle said to him, look, you can't do that. I don't do that with my wife. I respect my wife. Because he was like, oh, but your wife respects you. He said, yes, because I respect her. I respect her, right? And so he had to go back and sort of conform. I believe
you can read just that conversation.
Okay, right. So you were on mute for a second. So he called.
Sorry, I was talking. I didn't realize.
Okay, so I'm going to read it very quickly. So he picked up his phone. That's Francis picked up his phone to call his called his uncle to tell him all that had transpired. He wanted to know how to navigate this from an expert. Uncle Tunde's wife, Auntie Mary, was very well behaved, courteous and respectful, and there were no problems in their house. After listening to Francis's complaints, he burst into laughter. Francis, your mumu don't ripe, oh. How could you do that? Uncle, wasn't this what you taught me? Francis asked perplexed. But that's just boys talk now. That's locker room talk. We stop there and go home and behave ourselves. Look, you think you went to train your wife, but she's the one training you right here. We never push them to this place where they have to respond. You have pushed her to the wall, and a woman scorned. Well, you know what they say. So you better go back and make this right, because even me, I wouldn't try that. Uncle, what do you mean? Francis asked, petulant. You always put Auntie Mary in her place. She won't try that rubbish with you now. And I will not try this rubbish with her because I know that I can push her too far. So you go back and make this right. At the end of the day, Francis, there are two of you in that marriage. Even though you are a husband, a human being too, better go and work your marriage. If you ruin this, I'm not going to follow you, go back her family. Yeah.
So what was the boundary you would say, okay, I guess we're just supposed to talk about it. Yeah, we're not supposed to teach.
I love that story.
You do. Why? Why do you love it? Why? What is the real reason you love it?
Because reading it, I saw a lot of people in it. You know, it came alive to me. And, you know, it's easy how people, because of cultural nuances and the patriarchal society we live in, it's easy for a lot of people in this part of the world to think it's okay, you know, to do certain things. Because if you read the book, you see where he's telling his friends, don't give her too much of your time. Don't smile too much. If she does anyhow, come back home late. If she complains, don't come back home at all. You need to put her in her place, you know. So it was as though I was seeing in this book a lot of relationships that I know of where people think that the way to make a marriage work is to instill fear through authority, pushing power and all of that. And then that's the way, but that's why I like the book. It was that story was very relatable.
Relatable. Okay, great. Thank you so much. All right, T girl, and then you guys are about to meet our very own superstar. Okay, when Tomra finishes, you get to meet her because the sisterhood is complete now.
So, as the person who read this book first,
Don't be too sure about that, Tombra.
I'm telling you, if you look between the
Because
lines,
you never
like
know.
you will see conversations. Me and Bala, they're having conversations that she was writing this book. So as the
I did
person
too.
who read- as the person who read this
Doesn't
book,
know.
I
Don't tell her.
laughed too.
Should we tell her? Should we tell her? Just leave her, let her think.
Be coming.
I think my own story has to be Aqua Eke. I absolutely love it. Aqua Eke. It's a story that I will make sure Namdi, my husband, never reads because it might form his own personal men's manifesto. So, but yes, I think it was. I felt it. Yeah. I learned from it, let's say. But basically, the story is about this wife that is like a peperimpe, hot mama jama, and she basically has, or feels that she has a husband wrapped around her fingers, and she would do crazy things like call him when he's at work in meetings and say, "Oh, hey, come, something important is happening." And he'd be like, "I'm busy. Is it urgent?" She'll be like, "Yes," and then he drives all the way home and then gets there. And she's like, "Yeah, I need you to take me to the shop." And she's like, "You actually pulled me out of a meeting." It's like, "Yeah, but I don't have any cream now."
I'm suspicious.
That's the thing. I may have done.
Yeah.
Let's just say I learned from the book. Let's leave it at that. I learned from the story. And so he ultimately, he took her there and warned her. He's like, "Look, I'm dropping you at the mall. You have to take a cab." There was a spare car in the house. She refuses to drive the car because she's like, I don't like driving myself. That's a husband's job. And then ultimately, he takes her over to the mall, and he's like, "Look, you've got to take a cab. Literally, I've got to get back to work, and I can't come out. That we've got a contract that I need to, try and get." And then true enough, he gets back to the office and he's just about to, engage in his presentation and continue from where he left off. And then she calls again, "Okay, I'm ready," completely disregarding the fact that, he had warned her saying, "You've got to find your way home." And then ultimately he draws his line in the sand at that point and he's like, "No, you've got to find your way home." And then obviously she gave him silent treatment, but the lesson was learned.
By Akweke and Tombra.
Please say what Akweke means. What does Akweke mean?
What does it, like, precious something?
Now,
Precious gem.
It's but what's the literal meaning before you start going into the? You don't know what Akweke means, this Igbo girl.
Chidima says the most beautiful girl in the world.
Yeah, but aqua is what?
I like aqua ogazi, so delicate egg.
Yeah,
delicate.
So yes,
egg.
aqua ogazi is like the pigeon's egg. Akweke is like the python's egg. So those things that when people are crossing 7 seas to go and get those type of precious things.
Yeah.
Just like you guys have heard akugo too. Something that's like super precious because the eagle is not going to leave their egg around for you to see. That's akugo. So that was very easy. And then Ola. What does Ola mean?
Gem, precious stone.
So I wanted to paint the picture of someone looking. I used to have Peperempe. The ladies on my screen are looking. That's kind of how I wanted them to look. So that when you look at them, you just be like, this one is a husband should take care. Every morning you just wake up grateful that he has this accessory of a wife. All right. Yes, it was meant to be funny. Thank you for laughing. All right. So NK, we're here. I say NK, what am I? Is it Ebiere? Please, can you introduce yourself and then tell us about this? Okay, if Ebiere, you would have to unmute yourself. We can hear you now.
Hi everyone. I'm still on the road, unfortunately, but okay. So my name is Ebiere, and it's great to be here. But that was my story, Tombra. Literally, that's the one I wanted to talk about. But you see, I think the striking thing for me, I think what I like about this book, Brala, there is the fact that you're able to paint very clear pictures, and you talked about it now, how you use, the right expressions, and all of that, just to paint those pictures, you know. And for me, the point where he drew that line in the sand, there was conflict, right? But it was as though he was done, and he was ready for anything, you
Yeah.
understand? And I think according to the story, he I think she didn't speak to him for, was it, how long was it? Was it months?
For a while.
She didn't speak to him for a while.
That was for a
Until
long period of time, which was quite unusual, you know, because I
Yeah,
mean,
and
they obviously from
Akbarki.
the story, yes, they
three
had a
weeks.
great relationship, and he would, he was always at her beck and call. You know what I mean? So this was a difficult thing. It was a point of intense conflict. But he was ready at that point, And what that tells me, and this is something you've always said, that sometimes in having to draw boundaries, you will have to face up to conflict. Don't be afraid of it. Don't be afraid of the confrontation. You have to be ready to stand your ground. You have to be ready. You have to know that, hey, this is the limit. You know, this is not happening anymore. You know, so that's a big takeaway for me, and that's something that I think we've already kind of emphasized that through the sessions, the summit. But it's something we have to be ready for. We have to be strong. We have to know that, hey, sometimes to draw that line in the sand, it's going to require you standing your ground and saying, hey, it doesn't matter what happens, this is not happening
This is how we're going to
anymore.
keep going forward. I love that.
This ends now, and
So
then in
this
the
is
end, there was happy ending and all of that. And that's typically what happens when eventually you find that in most cases, people, what you do when you draw that line in the sand is that you tell people, hey, people begin to, whoever it is you're dealing with, in the circumstance, somehow begins to respect your boundaries. Do you understand? Yeah. So there's respect is restored, and it always turns out, I think in most cases, it's always often, turns out
You do it
right for
well.
everyone.
Yeah, and sometimes too, it might
But
not work out, but it's okay too,
Yeah.
because again, of
yeah,
course, you choose your. The guy wasn't saying I won't be there for you at any other time again. No, do you
mm,
understand? But he knew that she was
yeah,
not working. He was the only one working. If he's losing big
right.
business because somebody will not just enter car that he already bought, it's a
Mhm.
problem. So yeah, we
And he
all. It
said,
doesn't
"Look,
mean
it's also, he said it's my responsibility to look after you. So working, meeting my deadlines, and delivering to my clients, delivering on my promises to my clients is also, that's part of taking care of you, So
I love it. Thank
If you
you.
didn't
So
introduce yourself,
okay,
I
Barry, we introduce
did.
ourselves. What we do, who we
Okay.
are.
Oh, okay. So my name is Ebire. I'm a music artist, but I'm also call me an entrepreneur because I started a business, where I basically provide services for people that are into horse riding and polo sports. So I sell items, apparels for the riders, for the polo players, and I also teach horse riding. Yeah, so those are the basic things that I do.
All right, awesome. Thank you so much, Iberi. So Iberi led us somewhere where we were going. How do we know? Some of us, and again, I mean, people talked a lot about marriage. People talked a lot about parenting. You can use friends. You can still use marriage. You can use anything. Iberi actually started us off in that way. What can you say? First of all, how do they even know they have reached this line? That is on uncrossable line, and then what kinds of action should they take, or communication, what should they do, Sha? Because some people are listening here and say, I said in my life that no man will ever beat me, or that this my friend, I've said it 10 times, that I don't want to be a friend anymore, but somehow I find myself being here, even though it is the most toxic place. How do people realize they're already line has crossed and move on? So anyone of you, Alire, welcome back. When we missed you, Chrissy was like, "Oh my gosh, where's Alire?" Calm down. So go ahead. Anyone?
What's your question? Are you saying
Well,
what?
my question is, how first of all do people know when they've reached that line?
Can I say something?
Okay.
I think it's just for everybody. There's a knowing when you've reached that point. You know, there's just an inner thing, you know, that tells you, hey, look, this is it. I can't go beyond this, because you know that you know they've crossed a particular threshold, you know, and there's always, we all have how far we can go when it comes to being patient, you know. So we all kind of know when we get to that point where it's like, hey, this just has to stop. So I think there's the knowing.
I guess just to add to that also is just, you know, going back to what we said earlier about understanding yourself, the core of who you are. You've got to sit into yourself. You've got to know yourself, and you've got to understand what you want out of life, how you want to be treated, where your boundaries are. You need to sit into these things, because I think one of the things that we forget is we just carry on with life. We get so busy and we don't really sit down and think about, you know, what is this? Sometimes, you know, you'll experience things in passing and you'll feel uncomfortable and you'll just sort of push it aside. But no, you got to go sit into that thing. Why did that make me uncomfortable? How do I feel about this? Did that person violate my boundary? Am I happy with this? Do I feel comfortable with this? At the core of you, your values and who you are, do you respect this? You need to really introspect to understand where your boundaries are. And then you can recognize when somebody is, you know, on that line trying to, you know, cross that boundary, so that you can check that and you can say, hey, actually, you know, this is, you know. And I think one of the key things that I really got from the summit is that you can do these things without conflict. There's no need, you know, what IJ was saying with wife in training. You don't have to have conflict to express yourself. You can be absolutely respectful and just express yourself to say, hey, no, actually, this is uncomfortable. I don't like this because X, Y, and Z doesn't make me feel what. It's not about you. It's not about the other person. It's about me. It's about how I feel. It's about what you've done to me, and I don't like it. Next time, please, like this. And then that's how, you know, because if you don't sit into yourself and understand things that make you uncomfortable, how you feel, you know, I really like IJ for that. Actually, IJ is the person, you know, one or two times Tom and IJ were fighting. Hey,
we don't fight. We just fight.
We don't
fight. We just
I didn't see that coming.
Allah will say, hey guys, it's okay, let's just move on. Brother, they will say, it's okay if it makes you feel uncomfortable. Say your say.
Let's sit in this discomfort. There's something beautiful coming out of it.
Don't worry. If it makes you uncomfortable, it's okay. Don't worry. This is it. Fight. And they'll be at it. But you know, after a while, they'll just take time
in our character,
and then they will come back and say, actually, this is how this made me feel when you were saying that. And I just loved, I loved it, when those things happen in those times. I thought, oh my God, look at this. This is just pure, and this is why I love this sisterhood. So yeah, to answer the question, you need to really understand you and sit into your core and your values, and then start to set it so that you can recognize when those boundaries are being crossed, and
let's go do it.
Yeah. Okay.
All right. So
Thank you,
Chrissy. I think for me, I would like to speak after Chrissy because she's really touched at the same thing I want to say. Really, sit into yourself, understand your core values, and respect your core values, respect yourself. You need to have a level of self-respect, and you need to love yourself, and you need to identify that you are a person of value, because if you don't value yourself and if you don't have that self-love, self-respect, you're unable to demand that from anyone else. So when you're mistreated, disrespected, disregarded, you don't even know, like, because you don't even have that respect for yourself. So I think the first thing, before you can draw that line in the sand and start setting healthy boundaries, is to, reevaluate your values, appreciate your values, appreciate them. That this is who I am. I hate being spoken to rudely. I hate disrespect. I hate dishonor. I don't like it, and I will not. And because I love myself, and because I understand that I have been created as a valuable human being by God, who God loves and who God respects, I'm not going to accept it from anyone else. And that's the starting point. When you're able to do that, it will be easy for you to draw the line in the sand, because it's not from a place of battle. It's really from a place of, look, this is who I am, and I need you to respect that. So yeah,
I love it. I love it. Thank you so much. Alaire.
I think the ladies have spoken really well, and they've really summarized it. I think it starts from self. It's more about, you have to love yourself. And I say to myself sometimes, because growing up in school, in primary school, I was actually bullied. And I don't think the girl that was doing this realized, and maybe I don't know, I was too young or naive to realize I was bullied. And I remember when I got into the car, my dad picked me up. I remember that day so clear. I remember I was a Blue Beetle. We sat in, and he saw me crying, and he says, "Why are you crying, screaming?" And I said, "Oh, what's her name?" Shouted at me, "And you're crying? And you're crying? Don't you know who you are?"
Oh, wow.
And I think that just is like a pin just dropped. Don't you know who you are? And I that was when the bullying stopped. And the next day I went to school, and she tried to, and I said to her,
James Bond,
"Stop it. I know who I am. Don't even dare." She was frightened. She couldn't believe that I spoke up to her that way. So it's about knowing who you are. Knowing who you are.
Wow.
And I think the summit has really helped, because when Ebiere was talking about boundaries with kids, and I have this book I bought for my kids. It says, "I am who God says I am." And he has different confessions where he says, "I am brave, I am smart, I am intelligent."
Alaire, you haven't told us about this book.
Exactly. That's what I was just wondering. I just
I'm
like,
I apologize. I bought it only recently. But why I'm saying this is, it says.
Sorry, how many copies did you buy?
Oh my God, let's moving forward. Where are you moving to? We have a problem here. You're moving. Okay.
I'm getting there. You don't even know if it's in the post to you, so just be calm.
Anyway,
I'm coming down.
in the past.
IJ. So why I'm saying that is, you need to know who you are, right? God has created you perfect. That's the first thing. So if anyone comes to tell you otherwise, no, I know who I am. Yeah. So if you're overstepping your boundaries, for example, I'll give an example with the book, the Mrs. Middleton, my story I referenced, and the mom says, "Oh, you're not expressing enough milk, or your breast milk is not coming." So it's a kind of a bully talk, because don't tell me I'm not this. I am perfect. God has given me enough breast milk for my baby. So I think it starts with knowing yourself and understanding that you are made in God's image, perfect. And if you have any other opinion about me, well, I'm sorry. You can go jump in the lake, but I'm not bothered.
Can I book you for my Instagram live?
Come please. You are not finished with me, because we have to do IG sign. You understand? I want to tell you
how that's when you draw the line, when you realize yourself, that you know who you are. That's when you say enough is enough.
Yes.
First of all, I want to tell you
Yes.
guys, Alaire came out for you guys today because these are first live. I have to tell you guys because you know now that you are precious. But when somebody is inside somebody, it's inside somebody. Look at that chair; it's like a throne. When somebody is a queen, they are a queen. They show up. Royalty. Okay. Sombra, you were.
I think for me, there's this saying they say in Nigeria. They say, I don't like what I hate.
Yeah.
I don't like what I hate. And I think for me, I've seen this play out, and I'll get a bit personal here. When I first, I'll use my husband as an example. When I first got married, I was just used to flippant talk. You're just like, you just speak anyhow, wherever the chips fall, they fall, like whatever. But my husband, if you know my husband, self-respect is one of these, respect is one of these, highest core values. He will respect you, and he expects a reciprocal amount of respect. So he will not condone any kind of, if this is the line and you go like this and come up, he doesn't condone. He will stop everything. He said, "Did you just and a very calm voice? This is not quarrel, this is not conflict. Hey,
I just want you guys to know he's my brother."
Yes, in some ways it reminds me a lot about you because he doesn't compromise on that value, and for him he draws that line so deeply that I don't even come close to him, because I know that if I want to say anything, even if he's at fault, I have to find a way to say it in the most respectful way, and he will take action and will say, thank you, I appreciate how polite you were about it. And I think the same can be said.
Wife in training.
I'm wife in training. But and I think the same can be said, in terms of if you don't like what you hate, because you are not trying to pick.
I say that's what makes her happy to insult.
Just if you know what you don't like, make sure you state it clear. One of the things, state it plainly. One of the things that we've heard about throughout this conversation on the summit was, you've got to communicate your boundaries. So just say it. Just say, look, I don't like, if it makes you feel funny, I don't like this. Say it and hold the line. Remain there. Don't give.
Don't give. All right. So there was one thing we didn't talk enough about, which is necessary endings. And someone actually called me and Brad, I hope you know, it's not everybody that listens, not everybody that communicates, not everybody that, do you understand? So they were asking, what do you do when it becomes inevitable? And it doesn't even necessarily need to be marriage. It might be, I know IJ talked about the workplace in the session. They're friends, they're people we went to school with, they're people we work with, they're people we've just known all our lives. The only reason they're in our life is that we were in primary school, we sat together on the same chair. But you know that every day you meet that person is a bad day. Or you know that the person is now beginning to want to be a permanent fixture, and you are like, it don't work. So how those necessary endings, when you've now realized that this person is this bully who's never going to change, who's never going to respect me, who's never going to, whatever it is, please talk about necessary endings.
So I'll speak. I had a friend that I went to school with, and Balade, I think you may know her actually. But I just found out with time that the friendship was very toxic. Like you just spoke about, you have those friends where you can't quite put your hand to it, but you just know that there's a constant breach of your core values, with total disregard. So it happened for a few years, and obviously, growing up young adult, you're still trying to learn that it's okay to say no. Like Allah said, you don't have to be the nicest person in the world. My friend will say, and she's a pastor, she'll say, niceness is not one of the fruits of the Holy Spirit, to be nice, So gradually with time, when I started to realize that this person was just always crossing boundaries, very toxic relationship that I'd rather not be in, I had to end the friendship. I did, So I had made up my mind that, okay, I'm going to give her one last try. There was some incident, and I told her clearly, if it goes ABC, we're good. If it goes XYZ, like it would normally go with you, yeah, you're mute. It's over. So I communicated clearly about that.
I was just saying, okay, no, you know when
Okay,
you're
no, do you understand? And of course, true to type, it went XYZ. So, you know, I closed the door on that friendship. And sometimes people say, oh, as a Christian, aren't you supposed to be forgiving and loving? It's okay, you can forgive someone and you don't necessarily have to have that communal relationship with them. Joseph did it for a while. He told his brothers, okay, I forgive you, but wait first. Let me find out if you've changed. Go and come back, you know. So boundaries doesn't mean that you have not forgiven, but you've just decided to close those doors. So in that case, there was a necessary ending. So today, you know, I don't have that friendship anymore, and I'm happier for it. I'm okay with that.
And you know, that's great, but it's easier when it's a friend. What about if it's someone, a member of an extended family, your family, or you know, it's a bit more.
Talk about it.
It is trickier.
Talk about that, Tombra.
No, I think it's difficult to manage, particularly when you have shared experiences, you have family gatherings and all of that.
Yeah.
But I think one of the important things to realize or understand is that it's important that you also protect you also, even within all of that, still have personal space. And it's that thing that yeah, you eat with somebody with a long spoon.
Yeah.
You know what I mean? They are still there. You still do the needful, but you are also, you almost build a mini bubble within a bigger bubble, if you see what I mean, that protects you and keeps your peace of mind and keeps the toxicity out.
Yeah, yeah. You're right, Umbra, actually. You're so right, because it's not everyone you can close the door on. Yeah.
Yeah. I'll just go. I think there's a Nigerian saying that says, "Day your day, make I day my day." I don't know if you guys.
Today we are flowing. Can you get your day, please?
So
there's no English translation to that. There are some
it kind of means stay in your lane. Everybody kind of stay in your lane. I think with what Tombra said, I agree with IJ. It's easier when it's with friendship, but with family. Now let me even go with the in-laws, right? And you know, sometimes it feels, oh, you're a Christian, try and make peace, etc., which I would normally go into. However, recently I found that when children are involved, look, I'll give a scenario. You have in-laws where you're not really seeing eye to eye, but you have children who are cousins. Right? Should they suffer for what their parents are going through? Say the pride, nobody wants to come and talk and try and trash things. And I just feel it's totally unfair because they grow up and that's their family. Right? So that's eating with a long spoon. So you have birthdays, you have Christmas, you have holidays, and you can say, okay, can I come pick up the kids because I would want them to play with their cousins.
I love that.
And that way, you're not in each other's faces, you're not calling each other every day, but at least for the children, because they shouldn't suffer for what their parents.
Especially if it's not something evil, because you know sometimes some people think that boundaries is only when someone has been evil to me. It may not necessarily be evil, but you just your values are not aligned.
No.
And it's okay.
It's okay
for both of you, but who knows what your children can come up with.
Yes.
Tomba is like something was brewing.
No, I think that is, for me, is the very definition of eating with a long spoon, really, because you're still eating. You're still eating.
Exactly.
It's just that there is space in between, so that you don't get enmeshed in all of the toxicity. You just, and it's, I think for me, it's having the wisdom to be able to it's being in control. Not letting everything that is going on in the relationship drama control you. You can say no, to the things that you don't want. No, I don't want to go out. No, I don't want to do this. No, but then you still have the presence of mind and the focus and prioritization to be able to say it's your child's birthday or it's this person's day. I'm gonna come over. I'm gonna come over and drop presents for Christmas. You still do the roles and responsibilities that are on you as
project manager speaking.
Yeah.
No, but
you don't amazing.
Don't let anything drop because
because in the workplace, don't we do it, IJ? You're in a board meeting with two arch enemies.
Yeah.
But at least there's business to be discussed. We can discuss the projections of the market without us, falling in love. So have that level of engagement you can still do. Questions?
Absolutely. Necessary.
IJ, go ahead.
Yeah, necessary things don't mean that you won't communicate with the person or you wouldn't have some form of relationship with the person. Like Tomba rightly said, Anala, you do what you have to do. And bringing it back to the workplace, your colleague or your boss doesn't have to be your BFF. In fact, you could be working with people that you don't even necessarily enjoy their company, you don't like them on the good day, they won't be your friend. But there's a work to be done. It doesn't mean that you're going to abdicate your responsibilities, whether as an aunt, whether as a worker, whether as a spouse, whatever, you could set boundaries, but you're still present, and you're still taking care of whatever responsibilities that are tied to that, your role in the person's life. Particularly if there's no way around it, yes.
All right, so let's start from the first question. What if this thing is a spouse? So let me start the spouse part. Let me just start because there's an answer right here. You see that day one of the summit? Who remembers what it was about? What was it about?
Day one was about leadership, workplace, personal boundaries,
personal boundaries and leadership.
Yeah.
If you don't have if you were not operating in that space of personal boundaries, leadership, it's going to be hard to separate from a spouse. And I'm talking about whether male or female, because you have to have your own life before you can actually separate yourself from somebody. If you are enmeshed, you don't know where do I start, where do I finish, where do I belong. You don't even know where to start from. Those are the people that tell you that where do I start from? And because you've built so much together, or you guys are so intertwined, you don't have your own money, you don't have your own values, you don't have your own life. Everything about you, your whole identity is Mrs. or Mr. this person. So can anyone throw in more light about the spouse, and then we'll go into the other questions?
Yeah, I think with spouse it can be even more challenging because there's what do? You do throw him away or do you throw her away? And what I would say to that really is that you don't let go of your own personal boundaries. I really like when Tombra gave that analogy with her husband. That respect was big deal for him, and he kept on and until she got to the point where she took note, and then she decided, actually, let me calm down before I attack this matter. So I think the one key thing with spouse is just to lead in love, but to remember to keep your boundaries. There's certain things that are just things that people will eventually, you got to elevate, because if you're not elevating, then really you're not going to elevate anybody else. That thing where you come up and then you bring the people up. You've got to find a way to elevate yourself, build yourself, and then also show respect as you keep insisting on your boundaries. As long as there are things that are not involved, such as, violence and all those kind of things where you need to draw a line because lives are at stake.
Yeah.
If there are things, because let's just think about it. Conflict exists anywhere you go. The next relationship, there'll be conflict. There's always conflict. That's the one thing that we have to learn to navigate. So really, you got to respect your boundaries, sit into yourself, respect your own boundaries, and then slowly elevate and keep that boundary so that your spouse will and actually those boundaries also, you begin to show that boundaries to your spouse. Do you see what I mean?
Yeah.
So you don't expect but don't give, you know. So you start to show those boundaries in action. And then eventually, fingers crossed, they kind of take note, or they will also elevate. And then also just learn to be okay with certain things, because some things you just can't change. So you've got to really, when you're drawing a line in the sand, you're drawing a line in the sand at your core values. You know, for spouse, there's some things you just drink water, you apologize and move on. You know, the spouse is the spouse. You're not gonna fight. You're not gonna, you know, you're to that. You're gonna be there. You can't day your day and they will day their day, because you gotta go to bed. So I guess, you have to really elevate and maintain your boundary and keep leading in love.
Elevate people, elevate. Yeah. I don't think there's anybody that I respect as much as I respect myself. That sounds so proud, but it's really true. So just like Tombra said about the respect one, using her example in her marriage, I mean, that person who's demanding that respect, it better be coming correct every time. And be speaking at that level of respect. So I really love that example. So let's talk about the second problem.
Sorry, can I just add it? Okay. Can I just add it? You know, really super quick point just to that, because a lot of times when people are saying all this, particularly around the spouse matter, oh, you know, we don't have boundaries. You know, he's not respecting me. The first thing is you yourself. Is there something to have boundaries around? Do you yourself as a person, are you coming correct? And I think it's that point that Crystal was making around, you've got to elevate yourself. A lot of times people are saying, you know what, but you yourself, you infringe upon his own boundaries because you are not a complete person. And then you're now saying, oh, you should, you know, you
do revenge, you pick and
choose where boundaries apply. No, you've got to come correct as well yourself.
Come correct.
That's the point.
And if your values are important to you, no matter whether someone violated your boundaries, you will not compromise on your own values because somebody else compromised on theirs. No. All right. This question next. EJ.
How do you handle a good friend who thought it wise to go spill private conversations to an ex? She doesn't know I know because the ex called me. Okay,
those people who generally spill, you know, like you tell them something, it's supposed to be in confidence, and they just keep going, you know, telling maybe something you know that you told only me. It was your down day, it was your low moment. Next thing now, your gist is everywhere. How do you handle that?
For me, if that friend is a valuable friend to you, you should call her and have a conversation with her about so why would you go and things we talk about in privacy. And I can have intimate conversations with you because you're my dear friend. I think you should address it and confront
it.
Yeah, address it.
Avoidance.
Yeah, because like we said, and Chrissy mentioned it earlier on, part of friendship is actually the ability to have healthy conflicts. It's not any friendship that is devoid of that, then, you know, maybe there's some pretense in it. So if something is done to you that you don't appreciate in a relationship that is valuable to you, sit down with the person and have a conversation. That conversation is necessary for two reasons. One, you're clearly communicating that you dislike it and you would rather it doesn't happen. And then you're also giving her the opportunity to react, because her reaction is important to you. You need to know if it's a friend you still need to keep. Or if it's a friend that you have to let go of. Yeah.
Are you hearing? Step number 6 on my 10 steps to setting better boundaries is give grace. So that conversation is you giving grace, because women, we can be so avoidant sometimes. We keep malice before we ever talk about the problem. We will malice this matter. We will, you understand? Somebody will not know, and you'll be like, she knows what she did. She knows.
How would you know? How will she know?
You understand? So having those conversations, give grace first. The truth is, the person might come and they might even deny, they might this, but at least you have seen them for who they are. Right? Allah, so this one is for you, because
and test. I would add to that. Sorry,
okay, just go ahead.
Going forward, just test first before.
Test one.
This thing about I tell you something and then I hear it somewhere else. It's just a no. You know. So for me personally, I would address it, but the chances are that I would never be so vulnerable with you again. The chances are. because
Yeah.
it cuts deep and it hurts when you trust somebody and they go and share your stuff. So I would just say, remember that in having that friendship, they've got to earn that trust back. I.e., there has to be a period where you find someone else to confide in, that is
Mm-hmm.
trustworthy and
Of
able,
course, we even
and
just too
keep your
much.
stuff to yourself, or rant to yourself in the air, because that thing is just a terrible no. So don't just go straight back in after confronting and having that conversation, like I just said, when you've addressed it. Don't go straight back in and start spilling again, because they've got to earn that trust back. They've
Yeah,
broken some
yeah.
trust. How do you show me that you are going to be a worthy confidant of my pride? What I'm just sharing.
Deepest,
The things I'm sharing with you are like, they're like gold to me. Don't go telling someone else.
I love that. Thank you.
Yeah.
So, Alari,
Okay, what if they have been negative? So this is the cousins. What if
sorry,
they
I
have
need to
been
stop somewhere.
negatively?
Sorry, Alari. So, one
Okay.
of the things you also want to establish with your friends is that they are not gossiping. You understand? Like, if they have been busy bringing other people's gist to you, it's a natural that your gist is going. Your gist is gonna go out because gossip is the person's name. If they can bring you sweet gist and your gist is sweet, they'll take it out. So those are some other things to note. The character of the person. All right. So over
Sorry,
to you,
Bralade, I
Alari.
just want to add to that quickly. I know IJ said you have to also evaluate, is that a sort of friend you want to keep? I think already, if you have a good friend, it's a no-no for that friend to go to the ex to spill on that conversation. Already that tells you the type of character that
Alari
person
is like,
is.
no, 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 no.
So already, like what Chrissy said, you have to evaluate and say, do I still want to have this
Yeah,
close relationship or eat with this person with a long spoon? I think at that point, because
absolutely, Ella.
yes.
I love it. All right. So Ala, your question. When you were talking about the cousins, even in a
Okay.
family where the adults aren't getting along. So what if they've been negatively influenced by the parents and might act funny towards their cousins?
Okay. I think I would, the way I would react to this, it would be to sit the children down, right, and have a conversation with them and say, adults have their own issues or challenges, and it shouldn't affect the children, and
I want to live
explain
in
to them that
Allah's
they're
house.
still family. Now, maybe I'm saying this because I kind of have experience in this as well. And luckily, the kids are young; they are not teenagers, etc. And it's just so beautiful to see, because when they come
Mm.
together, they just play with each other, they hug each other like, oh, I haven't seen you in months, and they're just so happy. So if it's where you have teenagers where their parents have negatively affected them, the way I would handle that would be to speak to them, but at the same time also try and have a conversation with the parents and say, as much as probably we are not getting along and we are not best of friends, can we please not get the children involved, and give reasons why? Again, it they may not want it, but at least I would give that try to say, have that conversation with them. Let's not get the children involved. They grow up to their family, and it would be nice to see them grow up to have that bond. And it's not forced. If they don't want that, then it's okay. But at least you've done your part and you've tried.
All right, awesome. Okay, so I want to talk about when boundaries or when relationships are too good. What they call too good. I asked my very, very loyal audience here to Google the word enmeshment for me. Google the word codependency for me. Because sometimes when people think boundaries are set only when something is too bad, right? Enmeshment is, let me see exactly how the person defined it here. Let me pick the one that is less. Okay, so enmeshment is a description of a relationship between two or more people in which personal boundaries are permeable and unclear. Sometimes you have a friend, everything you're going through in your life or anything they're going through, it's like you guys have become one person. There's no personal boundary. There's nothing that happens in your marriage, in your family, in your anything you don't tell or they don't expect to hear. this person has money, you have to give this money. Those are the ones that are like, wait, you didn't tell me this, or you didn't, things that have become so tight. That's the relationship sometimes where the husband has to pay for it because the husband bought her this car, you have to buy this other one. You understand? A car, a push present, because they no longer know where they start, where they finish. If friends, the spouses must have friends together. You can't have your own life, I have my own life. We must work on something together. Our quality time, we must always be sitting. Do you understand? So I want to find out when stuff is too good, in quotes, a grandmom who is choking the grandchildren with love, buying them the most expensive things. You come back again, they have done this, they've done that. Things like that are so good, because sometimes people don't realize those ones. They like it because they are benefiting. Please, how do people start to set boundaries in these types of situations where the closeness is uncomfortable now?
I'm busy. Answer Bralade's PhD question, okay?
Honestly, like Professor Brother.
Yeah.
Okay, let me use the simplest example. You can answer this one. You are quarreling with, so your friend is quarreling with somebody. That means all of us must quarrel with the person. I've met people like that before.
No.
This is like, no.
First of all, it's a difficult question for me to answer because I've never subscribed to that kind of chingom relationship.
No.
You know that chingom relationship. I've never. It doesn't work.
You're joking me.
No, you're joking me. No, it's
not like that. But let's confess that. Let's confess.
Yeah.
Someone does something to Bralade sometimes. I say we're not talking to the person again.
Larry.
Then Tomra will now from my back is already
Tomra, you did that and you uniform with Bralade, right? You did that uniform with Bralade when you saw her talking with
in the time of no knowledge.
Yes. You know,
no, but I believe in validating. So, for example, your husband is doing you strong thing. I know I'm your family friend. I won't beef the guy. Something you told me in confidence. Do you understand? Now it's different if he starts to slap you in my presence or not. We have a problem. We have our personal problem. You are not even among in that problem again. So I understand wants like that. But this, because in the name of friendship, sometimes we get too enmeshed. We can't say no. You can't say no again in the relationship for anything.
But isn't that because you haven't really defined your boundaries? Like, you know, so everything has been going. I guess really, is this? I mean, am I answering the question? Like, you guys have been so together for so long that how do you start to set these boundaries, or how do you start to sort of, I don't know.
How do you first of all realize this is a problem, and then begin to fix it? Because okay, let me use this final example. You guys are making me explain too much. A husband and wife, the wife can't, do you understand? Like you haven't become your own person because your identity is me and you chingommed forever. Do you understand? How do you begin to say, okay, let me start finding my own self?
See, husband and wife is different too. You should use friends.
Friends
are husband and wife will start to untangle somehow. You know,
I think it's a very difficult one. It's actually quite complex because the more you think about it, there's no way you're going to do that untangling without leaving someone hurt. Yeah. You know, it's like, don't you love me anymore? Don't you appreciate this friendship?
Exactly.
It's actually you're rejecting love, in quote, but really, it's not necessarily love, you know. And I think
Bennett Brown, send them a book on something.
Bennett Brown actually spoke a bit about it when she talked about people using vulnerability to entangle you.
I'm telling you.
Yeah, I remember in the book on what's Bennett Brown's book?
Yeah, Daring Greatly. Yeah,
Daring Greatly. How people will use vulnerability to sort of get you entangled in friendships and share secrets with you that you don't necessarily need to know or deserve to know. So that's just one aspect of it. But like you explained, there are many aspects of it. For me, it's a difficult one. I actually don't even have the response to that. But personally, if it happened to me,
how have you avoided chingom relationships? How have you avoided?
Yeah. So funny enough, the friend I spoke about actually got into my space based on chingoming relationship, right? So she wanted to tell me everything about her life, things that I shouldn't know, things that I do business with. You know, some of things I'll be embarrassed and I'll be cringing. I'm like, you don't have to tell me all these things. Like, you know. But you know, I mean, I was still young, still impressionable, but she was obviously trying to use that to get me into a
almost like
relationship, like we are ride or die. You know, we are now sharing secrets. You know, like there's a kind of secrets that after they share with you, you cannot.
You for life.
Person, you know. So so it was for me there was a bit of manipulation in that, a lot of manipulation actually. So gradually, when the thing is that sometimes the relationship actually flip, because it now flipped to toxicity, you know, and so it made it easier for me to say, I'm done. You know, the foundation of this relationship in the first place was not even right.
Exactly.
It was flawed, so I'm done. So that's how
you can't have another best friend because this one has titled themselves your best friend.
You understand?
Having an event, you can't say, oh, I would rather not. I want to be here for this or that. You can't. Everything is choking.
You know, you even have friends that go to threaten your other friends, like, why are you with my friend? Like, don't you know she's my best friend? You know, things like that. Or you were talking to her, why did you invite her? Didn't you know, stuff like that. I'm like, I don't subscribe. Yeah, so
that's deep. But
maybe you might have to answer that question yourself. Actually.
Yeah, no, I guess as you guys were talking, I was just thinking, like, you know, is it that it's this person is oblivious to what they're doing, and do you need to educate them to see how going forward they will react?
That's a good thing.
Or is it that this person is fully aware this thing has been brought to their attention,
narcissistic,
but they don't know how to unwire themselves because they feel they're wired that way and they just don't know how to be anything else? Because if that's the case, then we don't have to be friends. You know, we can be just see from afar or not be friends at all. But if it's that this thing has happened naturally and now you are now becoming more aware, then I guess if you really, in a flip side, if you want to be a good friend, then you kind of have to shed the light. And get them to start to see some of the things and how those things make you feel and how it's actually not right, because it's borderline crazy to have a friend and fight with one and expect that you're going to all go and fight that person. Because it's just crazy.
Drama
so if you're shedding light and they're taking that light, then great, because that means they may be oblivious to it, they don't know it, and the friendship has just been that way forever. But if you're shedding light and they're not receiving that light, that means they're not ready. And perhaps you guys need to, you know, day your day and let the other person day.
I'll say something quickly on this as well. And I think it still boils down to clear communication in relationships. You might have to have some hard discussions, but more than just speaking with your mouth, you also need to communicate with actions. So if it's, for example, things like you're benefiting from that relationship, right? Meanwhile, the boundaries are being crossed, you might have to say no to some of those benefits.
Absolutely.
That's part of communicating as well, to say, you know, we need to draw some lines around all of this. It's excessive. You can't say something with your mouth, and then when it's time for you to benefit, you receive it with your whole chest, as you say in Nigeria, with your whole hands. You know, so
found it for yourself.
You have to communicate with your words and your deeds as well.
So good. And be willing to sort of, in correcting, be willing to lead with love, because I think sometimes we do a lot of things without really thinking and not really just wanting to kind of untangle yourself. You know, lead in love, because you don't know, you know, where this person is at and why that, you know, that relationship is so, they become so dependent and you just feel over, you know, they're like deep rooted issues for people to behave like that. So I would say just go in with love and try to shed some light.
I would say in any relationship you're in, always test your boundaries. It's not because you are trying to test somebody or you're setting trap for them. No. Can you say no? Sit down and think about, if this person say, we are going to the cinema, and I say, I don't want to see that movie, does this person always blackmail me to, do you understand? Like, can I say no? Will they accept my no? Will they receive my no? So small things like that. I want to go for this career. Is it always about the person? Is it always about this relationship? So someone here spoke about a spouse. Please, the healthiest marriage, Henry Cloud said it too. Brene said it. Who else said it? There are a lot of people that have said it. In the healthiest marriages, the couple, there are two individuals, complete, whole, the healthiest marriages, because both of you cannot supply every single need of each other. It's just not possible. Every social, financial, intellectual, everything, and then you say you complete me. Oh, that's the meaning of codependency. You complete me. I know you may have been saying it, you don't yet realize, and all these things, but we are just two peas in a pod. It starts to get to this thing. And you can say, I love you with my whole heart. It's okay. But there's still other people in your life. Okay, so someone said they're enjoying this panel. So just as we're wrapping up, because we're wrapping up here in 10 minutes, why should anybody get this book? Because we're here talking about the book today, right? Why should anybody read this book? And if there's any story, like your second best story, you can mention it. Sorry, I have one final question. So Chidma just wanted to squeeze it. Let's be that enter. Okay. Can I take this one?
Yes.
This summit, I've tried though. I've not talked since. So you guys, have I tried?
You should take this one. Go back, see. Go back,
I
see.
laughing. Can I tell you about the point in time when I had to set boundaries in this beautiful sisterhood? Oh, amongst ourselves. No, sorry, I can't take this. Somebody else take this. No.
Oh no, they fight to the end and then they go back in and
Who's they? Chrissy. Boundary incidences.
These twins, Tom and Brad.
Chrissy, let's expose Chrissy's leg.
Yeah,
Chrissy's leg.
Don't mind this girl. At one point,
Chrissy, she just be quiet like this.
Like we're walking in a room.
It's actually quite interesting.
What's going on? The twins are fighting again. Okay, let's wait.
The twins are fighting again.
Let's see how this plays.
You guys know that
tutorial because I'm not happy here right now.
You guys know that emoji of one man walking away very nonchalant. When Valade and just walk past.
And the funny thing, sisters, remember the funny thing is that we were in the same breath of the quarrel, we're actually talking, and then you people like, you see, that's why I didn't want to get involved. We used to settle.
Yes,
you don't put
you're going to end up being the sorry person. Just leave them, let them finish. When they finish
but
fighting,
somebody I'm really looking forward to quarreling with. There are quarrels I look forward to.
They will find their way back.
I'm looking forward to quarreling with Alire. Yes,
I know. Yeah,
but I'm looking for trouble in recent times. Today, IJ was trying to tell me to calm down, but I refuse to calm down. I'm going to look for that trouble.
What happened? I can't even remember. The last person
when she was not asking what is this thing today, remember? Was not asking and I'm like, wait, I don't what?
Let me tell you some of the emojis. You know, you just eat apple and be pretending you can't see what's happening. What's happening here? I don't know.
No, but sorry, guys. Chrissy, it's not enough for you to be dissing and throwing shades. Chrissy has had issues where she drew. It wasn't just a line in the sand. The line reached the underground of the soil.
Yes.
Can you remember when Chrissy left the group?
Yes.
Chrissy, please come back. We forgot you so quickly.
It was Cumbra, this twin, the fire.
And you know what I always like it's not frivolous. So we are talking real issues. There's a way you went about this thing that was, like deep stuffs. I don't know why. Yeah. Sometimes it's like, how did we just argue about both our points of view? And guess what? Sometimes people say, I still don't agree with, what you did. I still don't agree with it. But if it made you feel upset, and that's another thing that we want to take note of. If what you said upset someone else, I can manage. First of all, I don't like to apologize. They'll tell you. I can manage to say, I apologize. It made you feel that way. Yeah. But I may not apologize for the substance because that's your value now. Do you understand? That's your value. That's your truth. So you may not. So ghosting. Why is ghosting bad? Ghosting is very bad with people.
Yeah, you haven't done anything. You just ghosted.
Ghosting is spinelessness. It means that ghosting is not very good because except you say you ghosted after the person, maybe like someone's trying to harm you or something like that, please ghost.
Yeah.
I support you in the ghosting. All right, if it were me syndrome, yeah, I remember that with all the stories. But okay, you guys end with what I spoke with. Why should anyone get this book? We have 1 minute each. They don't like my book again.
I think the stories in this book, you know, is just.
Sorry, Chrissy, go ahead. I didn't realize.
Alago, go. Let's go according to our first name, Alago.
Okay, to start with, I would say it's very funny. I would start with, it's a very relaxing read to start with, and it just surrounds different aspects of life, from before courtship, marriage, in-laws.
And I don't say everything.
You can relate. You can relate with it because it's what happens. It's what's happening. And you can, if it's not happening to you, you know someone it's happening to as well. Mm. And you can give advice, or you can tell them, get the book. So I think it covers so much. It covers a lot of interesting reads, the funny. If you pick it up, you wouldn't want to drop it.
Yeah.
So don't just buy for yourself, or buy for friends, buy for family, because they'll definitely learn 1 or 2 things from it.
Yeah.
Shout out to all of you who bought, all my friends here. Do you know they got 10 copies each?
I gave out 3 copies this week.
You see? And some other of your friends are busy just monitoring you here, because once you get up this call, they're looking for you. Please,
yes, so Chinyere has been asking for a copy. I'll send a copy to you. Just reach out to me privately.
Even the one that has not bought her 10 copies, I'm just going to ship her 9 copies and send her my account. Nobody should call me enmeshed, entangled. Leave me alone. Okay, continue. Who's up next, Chrissy?
When Bralade wrote this book, and when I first read it, I sat down and I thought about, if this book had been written like 15, 20 years ago, the lessons that I would have picked up and some of the things that might have been different. And I think the stories are so relatable. There are things that are happening in our society. You know somebody that is experiencing something in this book for sure. You know, so I think it's a way to sort of start the conversation, you know, and bring some awareness. And Bralade has done such an amazing job in putting together the story in such a format that is so easy. You know, anybody can read this book. It's so easy, so relatable, so simple. But you won't miss the point. It'll get you thinking, and it will get you wondering, is there something that I need to change? Am I respecting boundaries? Am I keeping boundaries? And really, that's what we need, because if everybody respected their boundaries and knew how to sort of navigate that, then you'll have less and less of some of the conflicts that, you know, sometimes you see and you're like, how did it even get to this? So I highly recommend this book. I've sent it to all my nieces because I just thought they need to read this. They need to read it as young as they are. So buy it for a friend, buy it for your younger ones coming up, especially the males too, because it's for everyone. There's stories about, you know, guys in there as well. You know, I could sell this book all day. Honestly, guys, I could literally sit here and sell this book to you and give you 1,000,001 reason why you should buy this book. But go get it, read it, and then you'll start to understand. I promise you won't be disappointed. Yeah.
I love it. Thank you, Chris. So my own. Actually, where are you gonna go? Okay, go. I'll go.
It was alphabetical order.
Oh, sorry.
And I before
some boundaries are needed up in there.
Oh dear. Sorry.
Rules need to be followed.
I love you still. Yeah. So in addition to what Chrissy said, you know someone in here, and I would say you would find yourself in here as well. You know, 14 amazing stories. And the beautiful thing about it, and I know Chrissy and Allah has said it as well, but because it's written as short stories, particularly if you're someone that struggles to read, you'll find out that this book is so easy for you to read. My friend hadn't read in months. And I remember teasing her and saying I wasn't going to give her a free book again, because the 2 free books I had sent to her previously, she hadn't read it. So I got her to buy this one. And then she said she read it in 2 hours. you know, and this was someone that had been struggling to read. In 2 hours, literally, she finished the book.
Wow.
Why did she read it in 2 hours? Apart from the fact that it's so easy to read, it's so interesting. You don't want to drop it. I remember when Allah was reading the first day, and she went to this tea cafe, and she, you know, crossed her legs. She was having coffee, and she was reading, and she couldn't put the book down.
I know.
So when you're reading the stories as well, you feel so many emotions inside of you. Sometimes you're enraged, sometimes you're laughing your head off, you know, and it just has a way of teaching you, but in an enjoyable manner, in a relatable manner. So you want to have this book for all these reasons, in addition to the fact that it is one of the prettiest books ever on the face of the earth.
Right?
It is so beautiful.
It
is so beautiful. The colors, the content, the packaging. Well done, Bralade. I think it's an injustice, a disservice to yourself if you don't get yourself a copy of A Line in the Sand.
Have you heard? Because I just a school teacher, so you guys better hear. But somebody has to yab me small shout. Something has to be yab now. I mean, it's so sweet.
So
okay, go ahead.
Yeah, the story about
looking for
somebody
boundaries.
losing an eye. I was like, okay, Bragzy. The story about someone losing an eye. The
man lost his eye. That was gruesome.
I was like,
that's Madame or something.
Did Brad just blind this guy?
Madame Soga.
How did we get here? How did we get here?
She went dark. She went dark for a second.
Dark and twisted. But yeah, that was interesting. So for my own, why should you get this book? I think my sisters have already spoken about the stories and the fact that you'll find yourself. I think beyond that as well, for somebody who is still reading it, and I love the one of the things is that the book doesn't draw conclusions. The stories don't draw conclusions. You're basically meant to infer from it what the key lessons are. And then I love the fact that Balade then went beyond that to put on within the appendices, you know, how an action plan of how to set boundaries. So if you read it and you still don't get what's the big deal, you know, like how do I do that? If that's your takeaway from it, there is also in a practical sense, hand-holding for you within the book that helps you get the desired outcomes. So
love it. Thank you all so much.
Plus, they're beautiful. In here.
Yes.
Cut them off and paste them on my wall.
Yeah, so beautiful. They're so
culture,
beautiful.
heritage, really beautiful. Well done, Bralade. Bralade, sorry, just one thing. You know, you actually in this last question you mentioned if there was a second story that we just wanted to touch on. You know that the story A Line in the Sand, the line in the sand itself, and Shola on here actually mentioned it as well. That story was beautiful. It totally showed another concept of boundaries. Which is creating boundaries around your own sanity, around your well-being, around everything you cherish against the circumstances of life. And this is not an individual, it's not a human being involved this time around, crossing boundaries. Like whatever the challenges are, we've drawn a boundary. It's us against the world. And it was such a beautiful story.
Wow.
So well done on that one.
Well done.
Thank you. Thank you all so much. Like, what is this? What is going on here?
Amazing.
Yeah, they're looking for somebody to yaba. Please, Tombra, yaba now.
I know.
Please, I want to yaba, Bralade. Our name is not Fela Durotoye, DDK. You didn't put our own reviews of the book. Now you're calling us to do panel. Please call Fela, Ide, DDK.
All
of them should come and
we're silent supporters. Like we didn't need to be in front.
Sorry?
No, that is
we're
so
like
funny.
silent supporters of each other. Like we didn't need to be in front.
Wow.
English.
Well, if you read the back, okay, you can't see my own is this. If you read the back of the book, you'll see what do you call it? Little blurbs that people left for me. They are also my friends, even though these my friends, I think they are all my friends, or my only friends. But yes, I take that yam in stride. But you had a whole paragraph in the acknowledgement.
They are your friends, but we are your sisters. We are family. Let's draw that line.
Draw the line in that sand, baby.
Draw the line first. They are your friends. We are family.
Draw the
You see
line
this
at
allow,
that time.
allow someone draw boundary, you will not allow.
Okay. So
I
tell
love
people,
it.
okay, the final thing. So why should tell somebody to watch all the replays? Somebody that thinks that, oh, they caught 2 sessions, it was so good, but they have not watched all. Tell them to watch the replay, and also tell them to sign up for Boundaries Boot Camp. Like, why don't you want to make an action plan? Okay, sorry. Continue.
Tombra, help us do that one, Tombra. We nominate you.
I did go first. So.
Like, I don't get it.
I know it was brilliant. It was, I won't say with that, I didn't attend all the sessions. So you'll be able to shed more.
Okay.
light.
Okay. Thank you for your honesty and your authenticity. So, first of all, I can understand that some people may have missed some sessions. I don't understand why anyone would have missed the summit in the first place, because obviously it was clear that it was going to be a summit of value. So I would say to you, please, the replay are on and it's free, absolutely free. So while it's still up, because we know that Bralade at some point is going to take it down, go on the YouTube channel. This is the same channel we're on right now, Bralade, right? And catch all the replays. The summit was for 3 days. Day 1, day 2, day 3. Day 1, personal boundaries, boundaries in career and leadership. Day 2, help me. Day 2 was on
children,
family,
children.
Exactly, parents. And then day 3, setting tools and all of that.
Tools,
and each speaker brought fire. Each speaker brought insight. Each speaker brought passion. Each speaker, in fact, what was interesting about the summit was it even went beyond boundaries. Like, you were getting raw teaching, coaching, inspiration from each speaker. So please go catch the replay, and then share the link with your friends and your family. Make sure everyone watches the Boundaries Summit.
GMA, just want to say thank you.
Some of those speakers, if you want to go pay them to coach you on anything, you may not.
Do you know how much you're going to bring out to pay?
The money, I don't know how Bralade.
It was free coaching.
Crew together. It was amazing.
Each hour was
the thing that even stood out was like every time the next speaker would take over, it was almost like we've just been brought down, like you have finished us, and then now the next person is on top of that. When you think, oh my God, she shed so much light, there isn't any more that's possible. The next person will take over and they will just give you some more fire. And it was really amazing, guys. I think you'll do yourself a real disservice if you don't watch it, because it's free. And, you could put it on whilst you're, just doing nothing. 30 minutes, 45 minutes, just get through it, because it's real good stuff, stuff that will.
It's like 15 hours in total, right?
Yeah.
For the 3 days.
Yeah, it's kind of thing that will just change your life, and you think back and 5 years later, like, oh my God, that's something.
Changed. And if you join the Boundaries Bootcamp, in the Boundaries Bootcamp, we'll have workbooks to go with each session so that you can immortalize that knowledge that you got from there and use it to make a plan for yourself. So join the Boundaries Bootcamp, y'all. And so many of you who have already signed up, you're on the call here. I'm just going to cap at a point because we want to make this personal. So thank you so much for spending this Tuesday evening. Look, they are busy women kicking butt in every facet of their lives, but they made the time to be here today. And also because we couldn't make this part of the summit because we have so many amazing speakers. Where do we start from? So they agreed to come up today. So thank you so much, ladies.
Thank you so much, Bralade. Well done. I just want to celebrate you for all the work that you put into the summit. It's been absolutely stellar. God bless you and may God reward you. Honestly, because lives are being changed. Generations are being transformed as a result of the input that you've done over this weekend. So may God just reward you. That is my prayer.
Amen.
And my sisters, I love you. You know one funny thing we forgot to say? We forgot to talk about, how we started. The fact that we were praying.
Our faith.
No, you
Our
mentioned it though. You
No, we
mentioned
did.
it.
We talked about it. We started praying. Yeah.
No, but we didn't say we're praying at 5 a.m. every single
No, we didn't say.
Every
No,
week.
every single Monday.
yeah, every single week. So when you see friendship that is like this, you understand that it's been some time coming. Like we've been forged in that place of prayer, that place of love, that place of good conflict,
Yeah.
that place of every single thing to come
Yeah.
out, like that.
Basically, somebody said that they won't need to pray again because their auntie, the way the auntie prayed for them in their life, she has deposited prayer. So our children, when you see them later in life, they are just, if you put hand there, then they put hand there, they will come out unscathed. Just know that prayer has garrisoned their life.
Our foundations were right. The
Yeah.
foundation was right, and that's why we're still here. Founded on God, still on God. Yeah.
Yeah, absolutely.
Look at somebody's testimony of the Boundary Summit. The Holy Spirit reported to 18 amazing people. You know, we had 18 speakers, right, to come and inform me.
Yeah.
So it's complete. It's everything I would have wanted to say on the topic, but I didn't speak. I will be speaking inside the boot camp. So come, let's make a change together. All right, ladies, I hate to let you go, but I love you and I honor you. Thank you so much.
We honor you,
so
Brother.
much.
We honor you.
Love you so much.
Yeah, and we celebrate you. Well done. Well done.
Well done. Thank
Well
you
done.
all.
You.
See
Think
you
about-
later, people.
Bye.
So they just made payment. How sweet is that? Thank you.
Oh, well done, Chinyere. But I mean, I promise. So I'll still send you a free copy. You could share it with someone you love.
Ladies,
Awesome.
smile. Do a smile.
Oh, that's true. Tom, are you taking a picture?
Yeah.
Is my angle right?
Then do one with the book later, because that one I thought I took. I didn't take.
Okay, I've taken this one. Do you want me to do another one?
Wait.
Book one. You guys take our picture and
Please,
please
how
share,
do you hold this
tag
book
me
like
as
this?
I am Bala there.
See us moving up and down. Like which way to turn?
Are you ready?
Look in the camera, people.
Yeah. 1, 2, 3, go. All done.
Can we be face?
What?
Thank you.
Toma, please do some photoshopping before you release it. Thank you.
All right, y'all take a picture and share on social media. Tag us. If you go on my Instagram page, you'll see everyone at I am Bala there on Instagram, and then you'll see all of them there on my page on the post where I was publicizing this. And tag us if you gained any nugget from here. That's the only way. That's the way you can say thank you. Really.
Yeah.
All right. Bye, y'all.
Bye.
Bye.